everybody. Welcome to NRT. Now it is Tuesday, June 13th. My name is Kevin McNeese. I'm the founder of New Release Today, flying solo again for another day in a row as Marcus enjoys his family vacay. He should be on the road traveling. But if you're here, say hey, and let me know where you're from. Let me know that you can hear me okay, if I'm too loud, if I'm peaking or whatever. I need your assistance to let me know if everything's working okay. So we have a pretty interesting topic today. I think we're going to be talking about the changing music industry, how it's affecting you guys, and ways that we can all rally around what we're hearing and discover new music together and just be better Christian music consumers. I think that's the goal. And of course, if you share this video, as always, we'll pick someone who shares and hook them up with a free CD of their choice off the wall behind me. And we've got lots of other CDs in the prize closet as well. So I'll choose a winner here towards the end of the day if you share this video and invite your friends on into the conversation. That way we can all gather together and we can have a big giant audience where we're all talking to each other. So what's up, Matt? How's it going? Joe Raymond, welcome back. David Hunt, David Cash, Sarah from Tampa, Florida, welcome. Joseph. You're going to be opening a discussion about your article on my band page. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm assuming that's the article, not this, the big article. So Joseph, I'd love to hear how that goes, man. It went great for me. It certainly was an interesting conversation. Ian Moss, welcome from England. Who on earth? Who on earth are you and where are you from? I don't know, Ian. We don't know each other. David, I'm a little hot in the mic. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Here, let me turn that down just a little bit. The other thing is I've got the mic right here, and usually it's over there. So I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, and hopefully that will help. David, if you give me a thumbs up, if that's better, man, let me know. Thanks for sharing. Yes, I know the mic volume is too much. So hopefully that's better. Is that better? Mic volume better? Tabitha, welcome. I'm doing well. Thank you for joining. And Drew, thanks for joining from Alabama. We got people all over the United States of America as well as the world represented. So that's awesome. Good. Mic is better. All right. Now we can enjoy distortion-free audio, which is wonderful. So we got a lot of things to cover here. I wrote down just some notes on some different ways that I believe the music industry is changing. I have a little bit of a front row seat by being part of New Release Today and being involved in the industry for 20 plus years. When I first started, iTunes didn't exist. I'm ready to date myself. You guys ready? I do this a lot on the show, but when I first started New Release Today, iTunes did not exist. Apple didn't have their iPhone out. Facebook was a no-show. I think MySpace was just the rage. MySpace was all the rage. Anybody remember MySpace? Does anybody out there still have a MySpace page? Would that be awesome? Yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. Here's the deal with MySpace. The thing that drove me away from MySpace was that it was like the Wild West of design. Everybody just had way too much going on, and my OCD-ness could not handle the crazy design of MySpace. Yeah, so Jerry, you still have MySpace? Attaboy. Now, you still have it, but you still go to it and maintain it and involve the community? That's the different question. I mean, we didn't all go delete our MySpace pages. There's tons of just random information just sitting out there about all of us on MySpace. But yeah, so the world has changed in the short amount of time since NRT launched in 2002. Man, that's what, 15 years, if I'm doing my math right. 2002. Why aren't we celebrating? That's like a big milestone thing. 15 years. That would be July. In July, next month, will be our 15th anniversary. Is that right? See, I don't pay attention to this kind of stuff. You know why? Because I'm a dude. That's why I have Mary on our team to pay attention for this kind of stuff. Who deleted MySpace? That's because I had compromising data from my email phase. That's right. I had too much information from years ago. Ooh, I would like to know that compromising data. I'm sure there were some great photos, maybe a video or two from Mary's emo phase. That'd be fun to share. Mary's our associate editor on our site. My MySpace page is a music artist page by Tabitha. Nice. You were 11 when we were founded, 15 years ago. We're going to have to do something to celebrate our 15th anniversary. That's insane. I Part of me wonders if I'm doing the math right and I'm not paying attention. I don't know. My mind's a little blown right now, right in front of y'all. But yeah, there was. I remember when I remember holding the first iPhone. I remember when they announced iTunes. I remember when digital downloads were like, who's going to do that? Why would we? Why would we buy a digital album? We have the physical here. And then I remember streaming came, and it's like, why would I stream music? And I would never do that. And I'll stream music to know if I want to go purchase the album. And then now we're like, why would anybody buy albums? And each iteration has happened faster and faster and faster. And of course, that's the big known topic. We all know that. We know that CD sales went to digital downloads. You had a $10 to $12 retail sale that was replaced by $1.29. What originally was 99 cents for a single, and then you went to $1.29. And that's kind of where everything has stayed pretty much. And of course, you get full albums for $10 on downloads, and then streaming came around and changed everything again. And of course, the iteration between CDs and downloads was Napster, the whole world of getting everything for free and downloading it illegally. That sent the industry into chaos. So in the past 15 years, there has just been massive chaos within the industry. And I think where we're at today is probably where things are going to stay for a little bit. I'm not hearing of any technology that's going to be taking over streaming. I don't know if anybody out there. Thanks, David, for helping me do the math. You should be a math teacher. I would be a horrible student. I hated math. I flunked math out. But I think, what was I talking about? As I'm talking about failing school and education, my mind just goes blank. But yeah, I really don't remember. We were talking about downloads and streaming. A new technology that's taking over streaming. I don't know. Does anybody out there? Telepathy streaming is next, says Jerry. Yeah, where we just think of the song and it just goes to the person. Or well, that might be it. The whole AI, Google Home and Alexa and Siri play this. We don't even have to look it up. We just speak it and it starts playing. Of course, that's still streaming, although the business model behind it remains the same, just how we're accessing it is changing. But I don't really see a technology coming out of streaming. Ian says streaming is a good service, but you should have to buy an album after you streamed an album twice. Here's the deal. And here's lesson number 1, kids. Spotify, I do not for the life of me understand why any label is putting their music on Spotify free. I don't get it. I think that has single-handedly killed the music industry, is the freemium version of Spotify. It's great for us because we get to listen to whatever we want, and Home Depot certainly likes it. I swear if I hear another Home Depot or Lowe's commercial on Spotify, I mean, how often have you heard a Home Depot commercial on Spotify and went and bought some paint? Or went and go, you know what? I do need boards to build things right now as I listen to this new album. It's never happened in my life. I don't get it. So there's this whole freemium version of Spotify that I think needs to go away. I really do, because I believe music has value. And if all of us are just consuming music for free over and over and over again, it's game over. And that's literally what the industry has done. They have given and game over out to everybody for years, and I do not get it. Now, for the independent artist, I see there's 2 arguments here. If you're an independent artist, you want to get your music out there, you want to get it heard, you want to build a fan base. Spotify is great for that because people don't need to invest in you. But then people are investing in you. So how are you making a living? How are you funding your next project? How are you funding the ability to go out? Yes, you make fans, but I don't see an independent artist making a big enough fan base to generate a tour or to generate, Jerry, I'm sure you have some opinions on this, or to generate enough interest in a national tour that it would be bigger than if you didn't do Spotify. I don't know. Make those videos and put a couple of them on YouTube. But that's rant 1. I'm gonna be ranting a lot. There's a giant soapbox I'm sitting on right now, and I have the floor, and I shall be utilizing it tremendously. But let's hear your comments about Spotify. David says we don't buy music as much as we lease it through Spotify, Apple Music, etc. Correct, but you're paying $10 a month at least, which I don't even think that is legit. I think I do it. I pay $10 to Apple Music because I'm involved in the whole industry. I'm involved in knowing what's going on, and I want to listen to music, and that's a great way to do it. But I'm going to at least pay the subscription model, so I don't have to listen to Home Depot. Is really what it comes down to. I'm paying $10, not listen to Home Depot. But $10 a month, that's nothing. You know how much money I used to spend a month on music? I mean, it was in the hundreds. I mean, my wife and I would buy so much music that even outside of Christian music, we bought general music as well. I know, but we did. I still listen to a lot of music. But yeah, it's crazy. Definitely, David, I agree that we are leasing music right now. Derek says it's exposure though. Spotify, yeah. I mean, you got to look at the long picture though, Derek. If I'm talking to an artist and going, let's look at the longevity of your career. Let's look at where you're going and how you're going to fund the next steps, and how are you going to fund your way to A and B and C. You need money to do it. That's just the raw reality. And Spotify does not contribute into that. And so what are you doing? You're just giving everything away. Building an audience as an artist, us as Christian music fans and us as Christian music, think about how ADD our ears are now. How often we go from song to song and from artist to artist, and we're not invested. We're not financially invested. We're not time invested. An artist has to think about that when they're giving away stuff on Spotify for free. I don't understand it. Derek says you almost have to do it now to get your music out there. I really don't think that's the case, and maybe we can talk about that in a future episode about how artists are connecting with us fans and what us fans want artists to be doing more of. I think that would be an interesting topic. Ian says, I don't use it either. I hate Spotify, etc., but the idea is good. The execution of it is wrong. David Hunt says, I pay for Spotify, but mainly so I can check out new music before buying an album. David, I was right there with you years ago. I really was. I listened to Spotify, and then I bought the album if I liked it. Honestly, I have not bought a CD in probably 2+ years. I haven't done it. And I'm talking about not only Christian music, I'm talking about general music as well. I just have not bought a CD. I think the last CD I bought was... That's okay. Lots of other people bought it too, so I'm okay admitting it. The last CD I bought was Taylor Swift's 1989, I think. And I don't even know why I bought that. Well, I do know why. But here's why I bought it, because it's not available. And then I almost bought Adele's because she didn't make hers available as well. So I think there's some... I just think there's some credibility to either holding on for a couple months and letting those fans who are going to buy your release invest into them. There's nothing wrong with that. But just put it out on day one. I don't agree. But totally agree with you. It's killing music in many ways, says Derek. David says it goes back to where the labels sold access to the catalog to record clubs in a way that they didn't have to pay as much to the artists. Money for the labels, not as much to the artists. They've basically repeated the model with streaming service. It's also interesting, David. Funny your last name is Cash as we talk about money. Also, I get humored about that kind of stuff. All the labels are invested into Spotify. And so they're all financially invested into Spotify. And here's the other interesting fact about their streaming services. None of them are making money. They are still bleeding cash like crazy because they have more listeners than they have advertisers, and they're paying royalty. Every penny they make plus are paid in royalties because the audiences does not match the demand, and the pricing structure is all off. And I don't understand how this exists. How do you boast about having a company that loses $500 million in a year? That's America. That's America for you. I don't get it. I certainly would not want to be part of something like that. It goes back to, we read that already. Mary says, I think labels put music on Spotify as part of surrendering to the inevitable. Interesting. Spotify still generates more revenue than pirating, which would be what people would do if streaming wasn't available. I mean, maybe. I think people who pirate music are going to do that anyway because they have no moral compass. Sorry, I'm going to call you out on that one. I do not steal music. People, do not steal music. Come on. We've been hammered with this phrase for a long time, but I have encouraged people since day one since I've been in this industry to not steal music. I've been a huge advocate against it. It is black and white, stealing and ripping people off. So I think if people are going to do that, they're going to do that, whether or not it's available for free on Spotify or not. So a deterrent against it, I don't know. I don't know. I think a criminal is going to be a criminal. That's cold hard facts, ladies and gentlemen. Sitting on my soapbox. Sorry. Never buy music. Probably haven't spent $150 in my life, says Gail. Well, that's okay, Gail. You do love music, right? And that's also the flip side, is that we're consuming more music than ever before because it's more accessible. So it's definitely getting out there. Justin says, I guess I'm old school, but if I'm paying money for music or movies, I like to physically own the disc. I'll buy downloads for singles or EPs or albums that aren't available physically. I'll stream on Spotify to check out something new, but that's about it. So then there's the flip side, who really is still old school, which is fine, and still consuming CDs. And there's a lot of CDs still being bought. I think a stat that came up in an article that we're going to examine here in a minute was like Christian music sold $50 million of sales just a couple of years ago. I don't think it was a decade ago. We'll clarify that fact here in a minute. And it was like 16 million in 2015 or 2014. I mean, it's just nosedive. But it's not just Christian music. That is music in general. And I think anything we talk about in this conversation today is going to be applicable to the entire music industry, not just Christian music. Joshua says, I get my music on Google Play and can basically listen to any type of music out there, but I prefer Christian music. Yeah, do you guys remember the old school I think it was BMG with the stickers? And like you subscribed to it and you had these little stickers, and that's how you found music, and you look through all these because there's no internet search. And if you found the CD you want, you ripped them off and you get like 8 CDs for free, and then one comes in the mail every month. Man, that was a good service. I was definitely part of that. David says, I'm actually curious now on the payment of artists through Spotify. What do they make per listen? A few pennies, if anything. So I will base this up in that I don't have the facts in front of me. However, so I'm going off memory, which is always dangerous. But I believe they track 1,500 streams, so 1,500 streams of an album is equivalent to one album sale. So let's say an album costs $10. You as a consumer, you go into a store, you go into Walmart or wherever you go, Amazon, you buy a CD for $10. They are probably selling that at about a 60% margin. Sometimes it's even less than that. So let's just say for fun, it's a 50% margin, which means the distribution company that is selling that CD to Walmart gets $5. Then that pie gets split between the distribution company, between the label, between the artist, between the songwriters, I'm sure between someone else. The artist mom's dog, I'm sure, contracted himself into the contract somewhere. But, I mean, all these people are taking a pie out of that $5. So there's not a ton to go around. But power of numbers, you go sell 100,000 CDs. You can do the math. Plenty of money to go around. So now that's one CD. To equal that in a digital streaming environment, that CD, those 10 songs have to be listened to 1,500 times to equal one sale. So it's pennies on the dollar. It's fractions of pennies on the dollar. Like, I think it's 0.0002 cents. I'm sure someone out there can research this. I'm way behind on comments. You guys are posting a lot of great feedback. I'm not going to get to all of them. But it's fractions of pennies on the dollar for streaming. And the scary part is everybody's still eating that pie. So you still have all these people chewing on the same. They're all there. They're all hungry. They're all needing their cut. That cut is extremely lower. So that's enough on streaming download. We all know the environment. We all listen to it in different ways. We all know what's going on. What has that created? Well, that has created a ton of strain on the financial system of selling music. And that has put a huge strain on labels. And so we have seen this firsthand. We see this in the general market. We've seen this in the Christian market. I'm dusting my microphone. I just noticed it's incredibly dusty. That can't be good. And labels have gone through huge amounts of condensing. So their teams have gotten smaller, their focus has gotten smaller, their marketing dollars have gotten smaller, the amount of money they're able to put into a project have gotten smaller. And I think we are seeing the effects of that like never before this year. And if you pay attention to the release schedule, which is what New Release Today is all about, I want to interact with you guys more. I feel like I'm just blabbing at you and missing all your comments. Ton of great comments. Thank you. Keep posting. Keep being part of this conversation, even if I'm not reading them out loud. I will read them. But what that has done is created a huge, while less and less music is coming out, is basically what's happening. And so we're seeing the lightest release schedule ever in Christian music from the label system. And it's crazy to see. We've always seen a slow winter. We've always seen a very slow summer, but it was the slowest spring we've seen, and I'm hoping for a really heavy fall. I really am. But I think labels are releasing less and less music, and what they are releasing, they're focusing on more and more with a tighter team with smaller budgets. So that's what's happening in the label system. On the flip side, you have a lot of artists coming out in the independent system that are rocking and rolling. And this is what's interesting. This is what's really interesting to me to see, especially in the position that we're in here at NRT, is that we are seeing a ton of amazing music being produced. And 10 years ago, I'm sure you guys had this conversation with someone. It's like, you got to be on a label to make it. If you're not on the label, you're not going to make it. And if you're a band, that's your goal. Your whole goal is to play showcases and get in front of the tastemakers, get in front of an ARI team, get signed to a label, and then we finally made it. No longer the case, and this has not been the case for a while, but it is really becoming a reality today that anybody can make it now. The doors have been blown wide open, and they have been for many years. Anybody can make it. Making a great CD is no longer an issue. Anybody can go in their basement with Pro Tools and audio, and they don't even need to play instruments. It can all be digital, and they can make amazing music, and we're hearing it left and right. The problem, however, is where do they go with it? So that's now the issue at hand. Is there are a ton of independent artists out there that are making incredible music, but not many places to go. That's where I see what's changing next, and how how that will affect you, the Christian music fan. Let's see if we can get some comments in here. Christian music industry has become cookie cutter artists for the most part. All radio play is casting crowns, and their sound alikes boring. Michael, that is a fantastic comment that we hear over and over again, and certainly something we are going to talk about. How this condensing of the industry has affected you, the Christian music consumers. Definitely this feeling that everything sounds the same. That radio just plays the same artists over and over again. Everything sounds the same. It's all cookie cutter. We're not saying anything. We'll talk about that here in a minute, I promise. Who are the gatekeepers now? Would you say it's online distributors like iTunes? Kelsey, fantastic question. Who are the gatekeepers? I really think it's becoming you. It's becoming us. However, it's not there yet. The gatekeepers now in our industry are still radio. I think it's still radio. Whether we like that or not, I think it still is. I think they have a huge impact on what everybody feels Christian music is. And the reason why I say that is because this comment that Michael said, and I'll read it again. Christian music industry has become cookie cutter artists for the most part. All radio plays is casting crowns, and their sound alikes boring. I hear that 9 times out of 10. That is the critique of Christian music, is that all radio plays boring, which tells me that that's the main way people are continuing to know what's going on in Christian music, is they're listening to local radio, and what they're hearing is they're not entirely happy with. They're wanting more, and here's what frustrates me. There's so much more out there. There's so much more out there, and we report on that all the time. And we have radio, and we have the site, we have editorial that we post. We do a lot. We have our We Love Christian Music Awards. We do a lot to try to give you, the music consumer, a bigger picture of what's going on. Unfortunately, we don't have the reach of radio. We're not even remotely close. I mean, radio reaches tens of millions of people across the nation, multiple times a day. You know, we had 850,000 people hit the site last month. Still huge, still massive, but not even remotely close to the reach of radio. So this is dominating the conversation as far as a gatekeeper. I would definitely say, I hope that changes. And I'd want radio to remain in the picture because it's extremely relevant. It's an amazing medium, but they have got to open their doors up a little bit. They have got to start expanding and realizing that their audience is expanding. That we are wanting more. We are desperate for more music, and it is being created. And we need to hear it, and we need the gatekeepers of radio to be playing it. We need to stop hearing about focus groups. We need to stop hearing that we all want to hear the same stuff over and over again. We need to stop hearing about these outdated things that they say is creating this environment, and we just need them to embrace music. And if you're a radio station and you want some help with that, give me a call. I will talk to your ear off all day long and help you out. There are 20 artists that you should be playing now that are top hits that people will love and embrace, that challenge this status quo. Anyway, Michael says, I've been involved in CCM since the late 70s and have seen the changes. I don't even listen to Christian radio anymore, and many people are. That's definitely how it's going. Yeah, and Ian's talking to David. I like that. Talk to each other because I can't get to all your guys' comments. These are awesome. Without kind of flipping back and forth. Let's see. I'm going to take 1 second to scroll through this. This is where a co-host comes in handy because we can do this and talk to you at the same time. But yes, sorry, let me I'm not seeing any massive comments yet. That is on the topic we're at. So that's where radio is at. Here's another thing that has been changing. And that is retail has completely gone away. Family Christian stores used to sell, as my old employer, we used to sell 30% of Christian music at retail. They recently shut their doors, so they're done and gone. Retail is just hard. And it's been destroyed by the things that we talked about earlier. And so you had a lot of traffic and a lot of anticipation built at retail, and that's all gone. So that's a way that things have changed. You could go into, remember the days, anybody go into their Christian music store and just spend hours listening to demos? That was the day. Of course, you can just do that on your phone. It's funny, when I worked for Family a couple months ago, helping them shut down, I worked for 3-4 hours a week for them. It was awesome. I got to put music into people's hands, and some guy came in looking for David Crowder, and I got to give him Zach Williams and a couple other bands to listen to, and he was all excited. And he went over to the corner of the store. I watched him, and he pulled out his phone and he listened to the samples on iTunes, liked what he heard, and then bought the CD. I thought that was cool. Of course, it was 70% off, but that's all right. Yes, R.I.P. Family Christian. So sad. My wife was a manager for years. I loved demos as a kid. That's right. Tessie Fuller says, who is doing radio right? I love downloading the app of better stations. Okay, I'm not going to give myself a shout out, even though I just gave myself a shout out by not giving myself a shout out. But, I think we're doing radio right. I just gave myself a shout out. I'm going to give NGen a shout out. And the reason why is because we have an NGen affiliate here in Boise, and I was listening on it this morning. I heard 2 independent artists back to back, and I was like, yes, like these songs are amazing, and no one else is playing them. And so NGen has an app out. You can go listen to them. Big shout out to my boy, Chris Chicago. I've known him for many, many years. He is now the program director at NGen. They're doing great things. They've got a couple affiliates. They're growing. I'd love to see them take over. And they play very much progressive CHR, which is like pop, rock, and then rap. They play a lot of rap and urban as well. And so they're definitely pushing it. Mike says NRT radio best out there. Okay, Mike, well, you can give us a shout out. I'll just read your comment. We'll do that. Thank you very much. We work incredibly hard. And we just added 60 new songs. 29 of them were independent. 29 out of 60 songs were independent, and you're not going to hear them anywhere else. And another, I don't know, like 14, 15 of them were deep cuts. That's the other thing about radio is why are we playing a song for 6-7 months? Like, do we need 28 weeks at number one at radio anywhere for any song, no matter how good it? No, we don't. Lady Gaga comes out with a new album, and Justin Bieber comes out with a new album, and they're on single 4 before their album even hits. I think Shawn Mendes has like 3 or 4 singles out, and Ed Sheeran had his third single out before his album even hit. So we need to move a little bit faster. That radio needs to pick up on that. Move a little bit faster on these singles, and let's crank through music that's out there. That would also free up the playlist and allow you guys to play more music that's out there. David says Radio U is good. I haven't listened to Radio U in a long time. I didn't even know they were there. Way FM and House FM are also good radio stations, says Joshua. And Micah says, I love radio that plays new stuff but can also throw back periodically. Absolutely. It's always good to pay attention to what was out there. But what radio stations do you guys love that are pushing the envelope a little bit and playing new stuff? So Paul says, where do you go to find this new music? So here is the next issue on how all these changes in the industry are affecting you, the Christian music fan, is where do you go? Like, if radio isn't giving it to you, if the Dev Awards aren't giving it to you, if Kayla Fan Awards are not giving it to you, if retail is not giving it to you because it's gone, and you go to Spotify and Pandora, unless you know what you're looking for, they're not going to give it to you. Spotify is owned by all the labels, so all the playlists are label driven. So you're going to get the same stuff on these featured playlists. They're not going to give it to you. Hopefully you go to us. I think we're trying our best to be. I don't see many other people doing this. I really don't. That's not a pat on our shoulder at all. That's just our passion. Our passion is to uncover Christian music and introduce you guys to a ton of cool stuff. But playlists are huge. Playlists are the new Spotify or the new radio. And so Apple Music and Spotify have tons of playlists that you can explore, and just type in Christian music and start exploring. Type in an artist you've never heard of, like Cass, Cass, and go listen to her CD, and then figure out what other people are listening to by the suggested. You'll find that artists promote. You'll find a rabbit hole very quickly to fall in, and before you know it, you're going to get lost. And so I would recommend that. Ian says JesusWire.com. Yes, Ian. Absolutely, your guys' site is incredible. Ewan says, just diverting a little bit, please. There are thousands of worship bands sprouting or trying to sprout up with different styles and sounds. How can these smaller productions break through to radio against all the big new releases? Well, here's a quick answer. You can't. They can't. It's not going to happen. It will never happen because radio is not going to embrace independent and smaller artists. So we need to band together, and we need to do it together, and we need to not only create through playlists and create through our creativity, but we need to support those who are doing it and rally it around, share it with friends, start these conversations, latch on to artists who are not being played, and find ways to support them and to talk about them and share them and invest in them. That's how we do it. Is that the wild, wild west? There's always a wild, wild west, and eventually that becomes the new norm. And then that's going to go away, and then there's always going to be a wild, wild west. I think we're all living in the wild, wild west right now. I think the majority of us are really wandering around in the desert, incredibly thirsty and hungry for new food. It's within reach, but we're not telling each other where to find it. We're not hovering around these islands of resources. We're just now starting to do that. And so I think the more we can do that as a community, the more we can do that as music fans, the more that will help break the norm. And eventually, I think the gatekeepers are going to have to pay attention. They're either going to do that or die. That is the cold hard reality. And here's the deal: I am not bashing the major artists, the major labels, the system that's out there. I love all of that music. I really do. And some of you don't. That's fine. But I love all of that music. But I love all of that music. You know what I mean? I don't just love this music. I love all of this music. And what got me into New Release today and what got me here talking to you guys is my passion for this music. I am passionate about this music. I'm passionate about the messages. I'm passionate about the artists. I'm passionate about seeing other people's lives transformed by it And if I'm passionate about it, I'm going to share it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to financially support it. I'm going to seek ways to tour. I'm going to seek campaigns to invest in, whether it be Kickstarter or crowdfunding or any of that. I'm going to be involved. And so get involved. That's the best way I can answer that. Okay. Christian music is keeping rock alive. Definitely rock music is waving. Last year had a huge resurgence. It's been a little quieter this year. But that's okay. There are lots of other things that are going on. Of course, the style of music is being defined by what's going on. Worship is huge. We talked about that a little bit. Oh, man. Guys, we could talk about this topic for hours. Unfortunately, I don't have hours. I have minutes left. And we might have to have a part 2. As I go through some of these comments, which I will do later today, maybe I'll come up with a couple more topics to chat about. But guys, be encouraged. Be positive in your comments. If you're not finding what you're looking for, go out and hunt for it. I promise you'll find it. I really do. And we are a great source to start that search. We're certainly not the end all. We have a lot of great partners that do this as well. And just keep hunting and keep digging, and keep demanding that this stuff goes through. If you're on Spotify, you know what would be cool is for a lot of you to make a playlist that's just all about music discovery. And as you find music that you're discovering that's not on radio or maybe not on, not in the major system, let's add them to that playlist, and then let's get together here in a couple weeks and share that playlist with each other and share what we have discovered. There you go. Your very first NRT Now homework. How about that? We don't really assign homework on the show, but now you have it. If you're going to come back and invest in this show, let's all do some homework and discover some music, and then let's share it together. In fact, let's set a date. Here's what we're going to do. This is what happens when ideas come to me live on the air. We're going to set a date on Tuesday, June 27. That's in 2 weeks. On Tuesday, June 27, we'll come back and we'll talk about music discovery and all the artists we have discovered together. You can post your playlist. We'll all subscribe to each other. Let's just start. This is how movements start, right? I'm excited to learn what you guys are listening to. Certainly, we have our ears to the ground. There you go. Guys, I appreciate all your comments. You guys have been incredibly amazing on posting your feedback and sharing this. 142 comments. Are you kidding me? It's been amazing. Love it. Can you do an Apple Music playlist also, says David? I don't know if we can create playlists yet. I know we can internally. I don't know if we can share them on Apple Music. I need to dive into that. Why don't you dive into that, David, and see if we can do that. There you go. So in 2 weeks, we'll come back, share music. We'll talk about music discovery and continue this amazing discussion of how changes in the Christian music industry are affecting you, the Christian music fan. Until next time, I'm Kevin with New Release Today. Thank you guys for joining me. Peace out. Bye.